Hello and welcome to another session in English language. And today we are going to focus on different aspects of English. So the first aspect we're going to focus on is structure. We're going to look at sentence types according to structure. Okay, then we will look at speech work. We'll look at stress patterns on 4-syllable words. And lastly, we'll take something on descriptive essay. But before all that, let us review the previous lesson. Welcome back. Like I said earlier, we are reviewing different aspects of English. So we'll begin with structure. And under that, we're going to view the different sentence types according to structure. Okay, where we'll look at what we call the simple sentence. We'll look at what you call the compound sentence, the complex sentence, and the compound complex sentence, and also what you call multiple sentence. So let's begin with the simple sentence. The simple sentence is a type of sentence where our focus is majorly on making a single statement. That is, it has only one clause or it contains one finite verb. It contains one clause or one finite verb. Okay, so that's how we identify simple sentences. Okay, it contains one clause or one finite verb. Okay, so we've given examples. Lincoln fears snakes. Okay, Lincoln fears snakes. The finite verb there is fears. Okay, the notorious robber has been executed. Okay, the notorious robber has been executed. Now, has, okay, which is a primary auxiliary verb, okay, is also, it can function as a lexical verb, okay, is a finite verb there. So let's move on to the next sentence type, and that is compound sentence. Okay, under the compound sentence is a whole lot different from what you call the simple sentence. Okay, a compound sentence makes two or more statements. That is, it will contain two or more clauses. Okay, it's made up of two or more statements or two or more clauses. Okay, and oftentimes they are linked by what we call a coordinating conjunction. They are linked by what we call a coordinating conjunction. For instance, Emmanuel attended all the lectures. Now, that is an independent clause. Okay, he did not sit for the examination. It's another independent clause, but both clauses are linked by conjunction, but a subordinating what? Sorry, coordinating conjunction. Okay, so we have Emmanuel attended all the lectures, but he did not sit for the examination. Okay, so let's move further. Then we have what we call the complex sentence. Now, in a complex sentence, there is usually one or more dependent or subordinate clause, but there is also one main clause. So complex sentence equals one clause plus one main clause. It's not just one clause, one main clause, or what you call the then two or more is two or more, or one or more subordinating clause. Okay, so that's what makes up what a complex sentence. Okay, I'll give an example of a complex sentence. I ate the food. I ate the food because I was hungry. I ate the food because I was hungry. Now, I ate the food is the main clause. Okay, I ate the food is the main clause. Because I was hungry is a what subordinating clause. And I told you what a subordinating clause is, or a subordinate clause is. A subordinate clause relies on the main clause or independent clause to make or express a complete thought or idea. So I ate the food can stand on its own. Okay, but because I was hungry, it cannot stand on its own. So it can only make a whole lot of sense if we attach it to the main clause, I ate the food. So this is an example of a complex sentence. So we can also have something like he arrived home when it was raining. When it was raining. Now, the main clause here is he arrived home. That can stand on its own. When I said when it was what? Raining. Does it make sense to you? No. So that's what a complex sentence is. It's a combination of one main clause or one principal clause or one independent clause or one or more subordinate clause. Okay? Then we have also what they call the compound complex sentence. Now in the compound complex sentence, we have two main clauses, okay, and at least one subordinate clause. So in the compound complex, what you have is the formula is two main clauses, okay, plus two main clauses plus a one or more subordinate clauses. That's what makes up what a compound complex sentence. Okay, so we have example. I left the house. I had left the what? House. That is the main clause. My mother had arrived. Or I left the house and boarded a taxi is what you call the main clause. So, but if I say, when I looked back to see my younger sister waving me down. Now, does that make sense to you? No. When I looked back to see my younger sister waving me down, does that make sense to you? No. So we now have mother had arrived. My mother had arrived. So that's a combination of two main clauses. The two main clauses are I had left the house and boarded the taxi. Then the other main clause is my mother had what? Arrived. Then the subordinate clause is when I look back, my younger sister was waving me down. Okay? My younger sister, when I look back, my younger sister was waving me down. So when I look back, my younger sister was waving me, it would make a whole lot of sense if we attach it back to this expression. I had left the house and boarded the taxi. When I looked back to see my younger sister waving me down to tell me my mother had arrived. Okay? Then we have what we call the multiple sentence. Okay? The multiple sentence is a combination of what? Main clauses joined by coordinating conjunctions. Okay? Two main clauses or two or more main clauses joined by what? A coordinating conjunction. Two or more main clauses joined by So instead of using join, I use plus a coordinating conjunction. That is what you call a multiple sentence. So what are the main clauses? I will go to the what? Office and ask the manager. I'll go to the office. I will not submit it today. Those are main clauses. So, but we have and we have what? But. So we have it reads something like, I will go to the office and ask the manager to sign the form, but I will not submit it today. So you have two or more clauses, but we have coordinating conjunctions linking them. So that is what you call a multiple sentence. Okay, so let's move on to what you call speech work. So under that, we are going to be looking at stress pattern today, and how do we place the stress on 4-syllable words. That is, the syllable that receives the stress is pronounced a little louder than the other syllables. Okay, it's pronounced a little louder than the other syllables, especially the syllable where it is stressed. So let's take examples. Demarcation. So you can, if you look at the first word, demarcation. So it shows us that it's a 4-syllable word. So, but which of the syllable contains the stress? You see that the one that contains stress is written in uppercase letter to distinguish that. So it's cation. So it is pronounced demarcation. Demarcation. Okay, we have also fortunately. Fortunately. So you can see that now. Fortunately. Okay, so fortunately, okay, so we have political. So the link what is what? Stress. Okay, so we have political. So we have what? Communicate. Then we have supervision. Investigate. Okay, so you can go through them again. You'll notice that every of the words I give here are all 4-syllable words. So there are numerous examples, so you can always practice them. Just look for the one where the stress is, and so whichever way it's written, just know that wherever the stress falls, that's the primary stress. Okay, wherever the primary stress falls on, is pronounced louder than other syllables. And lastly, let's discuss descriptive essay. Now, under descriptive essay, you are writing about the way, or you are trying to make what you call a description. Okay, you are trying to make a description. You are trying to describe a thing. You can describe a person or a place. That's basically what the descriptive essay is all about. Okay, and primarily also, you must be very good. It demands that you concentrate. Okay, when you are, especially if your description is imaginary. Okay, if your description is what? Imaginary. So you have to focus, you have to concentrate, so that you can paint a clear picture of what you are trying to describe. Okay, and like I said, the subject in your description could be a person, a place, an animal, an incident that happened, which you are an eyewitness. You're trying to describe it to the reader. Now, description does not, emphasize on actions, but on definite quality. So here we are trying to say you should focus on you unveiling to the reader the qualities possessed by that thing, the quality possessed by a place, or the qualities possessed by a person. So what are the hints to writing a good descriptive essay? Number one is to form a good mental picture of what you want to describe. So you have to form that good mental picture, and that's why I told you that most times the descriptive essay is imaginary. So it doesn't focus on on which tense of verb to use, but please, the focus is on the qualities, not on the tenses. Okay. So number two, you should make your description true to life by translating your mental picture into words. So the mental picture that you formed in your mind should be translated into words. Okay. So and you have to be very good with your choice of words. Then also you must get yourself involved in your education, that is, pour yourself, make it look real, even though it's imaginary, but make it look real. Arouse your reader's interest. Be engrossed in your description. Okay, put yourself into it so that when the person is reading your descriptive essay, the person is captivated. Then also please avoid flat enumeration of facts. That is, you shouldn't just describe things without so much suspense, without so much passion. So you must be very, very good at descriptions using qualities. Okay, you could say things like the sun was smiling, or the sky was crying so much that the whole city or village was almost drowned. That's saying that it rained heavily. Okay, so you just have to be creative about that. Alright, so there's a sample question on the descriptive essay. A friend of yours who has not attended your school valedictory ceremony has requested that you give a description of your valedictory service there in Gambia. So now, how do you begin? Like I said, the heading should always be written in uppercase letters. Okay, so you have this. Alright, valedictory ceremony in my school. Then, your first paragraph, you state where the valedictory service is being held in your school. Then you state when the program is being held. Is it at the first term, or most of the time your valedictory service is the third term, the conclusion of the session. Alright, so then you have to also tell us what are the arrangements that precede the program. Okay, how do students get into rehearsing different events, okay, that will be presented that day. So we have different presentations, how students have to rehearse, how the graduating students also after their exams have to also prepare for that too. Then your second paragraph, you mention the dignitaries that are in attendance at such ceremony. Okay, so you talk about the parents who are also important dignitaries. You talk about there being a chairman of the occasion, who might be a public official or a highly placed person in society. You talk about the activities that usually take place. How does it, just give a chronological description of that. Then you describe one of the spectacular things about the event, which is the prize and award giving ceremony. Okay, that's the most interesting part of the valedictory service. Okay, how they give out plaques, okay, to certain distinguished individuals, and lastly you then conclude your essay. So with this, I think we've come to the end of today's lesson. Thank you for joining this session. In order to refresh your memory and recall all that was taught in this lesson, I would encourage and love that you take the test that appears on your screen.